feedback from different audios that are coming in, and so that everyone can hear. So I just wanted to, yes, okay. So I just wanted to start us off today with a few little housekeeping items. The first being that if you arrive and are not muted, we just ask that you mute your line, again, to ensure that we're not getting feedback. We have a handful of people joining us today. So first thing is we just ask everyone to please mute your line. And the second thing is if you are joining us via the web, you should have a chat function. So if you have any questions during this call, please feel free to enter your questions in the chat function. If we don't get to your question already on our call, then we will try to get to it at the end of the call. And if we don't get to it at the end of the call, then we will address your question. So I think we still have some people hopping on. We'll just give it a minute or two. Sorry to everyone who has to hear me repeat our housekeeping a few times, but for anyone who is joining, we just ask that you mute your audio, just so that we're not getting tons of feedback. You know, sometimes you have your audio on and your dog's barking in the background and everyone else gets to hear your cute pup. So if you're hopping on, please mute your audio. And if you have the option to join our chat, and if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. We'll try to get to them if we haven't already addressed them at the end of our call. And if we don't get to address them by the end of the call, we will try to follow up afterwards to make sure that your questions and concerns are addressed. So thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm joined by Nora, who's our program director here, Maria, who's our program assistant, and I am Anna, our program coordinator. So thanks everyone for joining, for watching the training video that went out, and for everyone who went ahead and submitted questions via the online form prior to this call, so we could kind of get a head start and jump on answering some of those questions here today. So we did receive some pretty great questions that we're going to address. And we know that you guys have, as club members, especially as club chairs who have additional responsibility to deliver Dream Awards, we know you guys have pretty busy days. So we appreciate you taking the time to learn this new platform, to provide us with feedback, and to work with us in this interactive process so that we can make sure the application process is the best it can be for both applicants and you guys as club chairs. So let's go ahead and get started. I first wanted to quickly recap what's new for applicants on this application portal. And I think this might, in fact, answer some of the questions that we received via the form. So previously, with the writable PDF, to connect to a club, a woman would already have her application finished. So then she would input her zip code and select a nearby club. And so this is how she would connect to a club with the old writable PDFs. But now the process for connecting to a club is similar, but a little different, that a woman connects to the club via the zip code search before starting her application. And so that's going to look like this page here, which is searching for a local Soroptimist club. She'll input her zip code up here at the top and select whatever club she's closest to and click continue, which will take her to register for her application. And I just want to note that women can search for your club using whatever zip code they prefer. So if that's their personal home zip code, they can use that. Or if they're using a zip code of the location of their school. They can use their school zip code. So really it's whatever zip code they input is what's going to appear below. And so we're going to have a flyer which includes a link to this application process so that women can access it. And also on that flyer will be the opportunity for you to put your club name. And so when a woman puts in her zip code, she'll be able to easily recognize your club name and select your club. We've also received some questions about a woman's eligibility. So previously with the eligibility requirements, they were only listed on this writable PDF. So a woman could go through the process of filling out the application and submitting it even if she weren't eligible. And then a club would receive that application and look through it and unfortunately have to tell the woman that she wasn't eligible to apply. And so now, after searching for a club and creating an account, a woman must confirm her eligibility before she can even start an application. This form is a series of questions based off of the international program eligibility requirements that are listed here on the screen. So for example, if the woman is primary financial support for herself and her dependents, which can include her children, a spouse, or her partner, siblings, or parents. If she answers yes to that she is the primary financial support and has dependents, then she can move on. It also asks if they provide two references or can provide two references from individuals who are not family members. And so this is actually again clarified on the reference form later if she does apply. So again, just to reiterate that these eligibility requirements haven't changed since previous years. They are the same. There's now just a form so that women can ensure that they're eligible before they start their application. Another question we've received is about the reference forms. So previously, applicants had to receive the completed reference forms back from the two people that she was requesting references from. And then the applicant was responsible for submitting those forms with her applications. And so we heard from many references that this was not the preferred method of submitting their references because it wouldn't be confidential. And so now with this application portal, a woman will enter the email address of those that they wish to request references from. An email will automatically be sent from to those individuals asking them to fill out the reference form. And those individuals will separately submit their references, which will become a complete task for the applicant after it's done. And so the women, after those two references complete and submit their applications, they'll get an email notification that her references are complete. And so she doesn't have to keep checking back in the application portal to make sure that her references were complete. She'll receive email notification once those are finished. And we also received the question, what if the reference doesn't have an email address? Can they still complete the application process? And the answer to that question is no. In order to complete the application online, the woman's two references must have an email address. Her references cannot be family members, and so we highly recommend that they be a professional contact, whether that's a school instructor, an advisor, an employer, a coworker. And those professional contacts are all most likely to have email addresses. So in order to use the online application portal, the references do need to have email addresses. Another exciting update and also question we got from you guys regarding the application process for women was about saving the application online. And so previously with the writable PDFs, many applicants did not have Adobe Reader, which is necessary to use writable PDFs, and had to download the program and were maybe unfamiliar with that software program. And so applicants were often confused about the instructions and they didn't save it properly. The application materials were oftentimes blank when clubs were receiving the applications or there was missing materials. So now with this new application portal, the entire application uses online forms, and so they can be accessed by any computer with an internet connection. And so the online form uses required responses so that no question can be left blank. So club chairs should be receiving complete, full applications. Additionally, women can save their application and come back to it at a later date, any computer with an internet connection. So this is nice that a woman doesn't have to complete her application in one sitting. She can save it and come back to it at any time. So another update from the writable PDF to this new application portal is that previously, with questions concerning the writable PDF, the women would ask the club, and the questions sometimes would go to the club if there was issues with using a writable PDF, sometimes region leadership, and oftentimes it would come to us here at headquarters just regarding this confusion with the writable PDFs. And so now with this new application portal, there's an easy to access FAQ page for applicants, which will help them address any questions they have about applying. And so I'm seeing a few comments pop up from you guys about having trouble hearing, just based on the mute and unmute. So I'm going to pause for a second just because I want you guys to obviously be able to hear me. You're not getting in chat. And I'm going to see if I can address this issue with you guys being able to hear as far as it muting. So hold with me, bear with me for 1 second. All right, can anyone throw in the comments whether they can hear me? Margie's letting me know that there's some constant beeping happening. So that comes with people joining and leaving the call. Okay, we have some people connected via phone. All right, Sam, thanks for letting me know you can hear me. Okay, the beeping's distracting. I think it's that. Okay. All right, so if you are having issues hearing, and I'm sorry that that constant beeping with people joining and leaving the call is distracting. I think I just addressed it. I do want to let you know that I am recording this call. So if you are having issues hearing on your end, then we'll definitely send out the recording for the call so you can follow up to hear any questions or anything that you haven't been able to hear. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue. I think I addressed that, that issue with the beeping. And again, FYI, everyone, the call is being recorded. So if you are unable to hear certain parts of the call, you can go ahead and follow up with watching the recording and jumping right to those parts that you weren't able to hear. So we left off talking about how there's going to be a FAQ page for applicants. So if they have any questions as far as using the application portal itself, there's going to be a lot of question and answers directly in the application portal so that they can get the help they need right there. And so hopefully that will cut down on a lot of the questions regarding how to apply and how to use the portal. So let's go ahead and hop right into some of these other questions that you guys submitted. I went ahead and collected them and put them, kind of grouped them together. So you might not see the exact wording of the question you submitted, but the gist of your question should be answered in the next few slides. So the first question was, when will the application portal open and close? And so the application portal will open for both women applying and for club chairs on July 1st, 2018. And it will close for women who are trying to apply on the international application deadline, which is November 15th. But it will remain open for clubs. You guys can still access your applications after that November 15th deadline. But on November 15th, women will no longer be able to apply. And we received a few questions from you all about extending your deadline to receive more applications and whether the application portal will stay open for that and those extended deadlines. And the application portal will be closing on November 15th, and it can accommodate varying deadlines across different clubs and regions. And that's due to the technology behind connecting a club or a woman with a club. And the November 15th deadline was chosen a number of years ago after discussion with region and club leadership in an effort to accommodate clubs who had early deadlines, and some have early deadlines around September and October, and then there are other clubs who have later deadlines around December and January. So November 15th was a compromise date. Another question we received was, will I receive an email notification when a woman applies to my club? And the answer is, currently, that's not a feature, but it's a fantastic suggestion. Currently, the club chair won't receive an email, but you can periodically check into your application portal, and any new applications will appear directly in your portal. This is a great idea for a feature, though, so we'll definitely look into it, and we will try to see if we can incorporate that and get that set up as soon as possible, because I'm sure that that's a feature that most club chairs would really benefit from, that notification email. Another question we received is, can I edit the automated emails on the decision forum? And the short answer to that is that no, these are form templates. So to provide context for anyone who maybe didn't watch through the whole training video, after the club has completed your judging offline, you'll return to the portal to indicate if each application was a first place recipient, an additional recipient, so if that was a second, third, fourth, how many ever awards you give out, or you'll indicate if she did not receive an award. And after selecting one of those, whether she's first place, runner-up, or doesn't receive an award, you have the option to send her a form email through the portal. And so these are really generic emails. Once you click on what your decision is, up will pop up that email so you can read it over before deciding whether you want to send it or not. And so these, again, are pretty generic emails, just congratulating her on receiving an award and letting her know someone will be in touch to follow up with some details. Or if she didn't receive an award, just letting her know that you wish her the best in her future endeavors. And so these emails are nice as a first touch, especially because they cannot be edited. But you can then email and call that woman to follow up with more details. Alternatively, if you really want to customize your first email to any women who are receiving an award from your club, you can just select that no, you don't want to send an email through the portal. And it will still record your decision for that application, but it just won't send an email to her. So if you really want to customize your first communication with her, you can just say that you don't want to send an email. So another question we got was, can our club share our applications with another club? And we know that this is something that a lot of clubs do, that if they have maybe more than enough applications, that they might want to share them with a nearby club who doesn't have as many. Or maybe if they already did their judging and decided their first place recipient, they have another great application that they want to share with the nearby club. Clubs will be able to share applications through this portal, and we're still working out the particulars about how that will happen, but what that's going to look like is you'll be completing a simple form which will just notify us the name of the applicant you want moved to another club and what club you want to share it to. And after you fill out that form and we receive it, on the back end, in the administrative site, we will move that application from your club to the other club that you want to share it to. So that application will no longer show in your portal, and it will begin to show in the new club's portal. So the answer to that is yes, you can share applications with other clubs. So another question is whether there's a flyer that club chairs can post and hand out to community partners, and if that flyer contains the link for where women can apply. And so this is a great question, obviously a great need for Live Review More chairs to have this flyer so that they can provide it to their community partners and also have the direct link so you can put it online on your website or on your Facebook so women can easily access this application portal. So as some of you may know, our SA web team here at headquarters recently updated the Soroptimist.org website, which actually just went live yesterday. So if you haven't checked out the new Soroptimist.org website, please do. And so now that that new site is live, we'll be posting the flyer for you guys, which will include a link, a direct link for women to access the application portal. And we'll also include a place for you guys to put your club name and club contact information. And then after that flyer is up on the website, we will make sure to share it far and wide so that everyone has access to that. Moving right along. So another question that came through a few times was if women in clubs can still use the writable PDFs. So we highly encourage that all clubs direct applicants to this online application portal. It streamlines the process for applicants really nicely because it requires questions, it checks their eligibility. It also streamlines the application process for club chairs because it provides that landing page of all of the applications in one place. And so we don't encourage clubs to continue using and advertising the writable PDFs, especially if the woman has access to a computer, whether through her own means or through the library or maybe her school. So if a woman has access to a computer that sends you a PDF application, she can easily go online and just recreate her application by copying and pasting her answers from that writable PDF. And we understand that there may be select women who have absolutely no access to the internet. And so in this case, the club obviously can and should still accept her application. And if this woman who sent in a PDF application who has no access to the internet is the club recipient, then the club can go back and create an account in her name to indicate on the decision form that she did in fact receive an award. So a few questions came through relating to a club giving their judges access to the application portal. Currently, the application portal is only available for collecting applications, so there's no judging component to the portal. Clubs will need to download and save or print their applications to conduct their judging. And so this is a feature that we're looking into and hope to include for future years, but is not currently available. And additionally, we received a question asking if SIA will be able to capture the club transmittal information through the portal. And again, currently that's not an available feature. The application portal is only currently accessible to collect applications, but this reporting component is something we are also looking into and are hoping to include for future years so that everything is in one convenient place for you guys. So that ends the questions that came in via the form. Again, your question might not have been directly worded the way you worded it, but I tried hard to make sure that all of the question answers I provided here were addressing the questions that came through. So now Nora's been collecting any questions that have come through the chat feature. And I'm going to actually take a look just to make sure there's not any that came only to me. So Nora, do you want to bring forward any questions that came through the chat?
Yeah, there was just one that I was able to view that was submitted to everyone, and that was a question about clubs using a later deadline and how applicants can complete the form. Can they still use the old one? So as Anna mentioned, we'd like to encourage use of the online form to operate using a more streamlined process across our federation, but we also recognize that clubs use varying deadlines, and so one option would be to have applicants complete the paper form and submit it directly to your club. That's certainly an option. So yes, applicants can still submit the paper applications after the international November 15 deadline.
Will the tutorial be available on SIA website?
Also a question about sharing the PowerPoint slides. So that's definitely something that we can do after the call is share the slide deck with all of you. Were there other questions that came through on your chat, Anna?
Nope, I'm not seeing any additional questions besides what you brought up. Let me just finish looking real quick. Okay, here is one question that came in. Only 9 of our applications out of 21 came through headquarters.
Yep, that's the one.
Is that the one that you just addressed? Okay, great.
Yeah, and then there's also one that just came in from Teresa Mitchell. She says, I represent 5 clubs with applicants using different zip codes. How do you recommend we deal with this? So this will ultimately be the decision of the applicant. How the matching process works between applicant and club is through that club search process that Anna showed you in one of the first slides, where the applicant will input her zip code, whether that be her home address or school address. Once she inputs her zip code, a list of clubs within 75 miles of that zip code will appear, up to 10 clubs. And so the applicant then selects by radio button or multiple choice button which club she'd like to direct her application to. So we recommend in your publicizing of this award in your community to include some instructions to applicants about choosing your club to submit to. So in the instance of having 5 different clubs in a similar zip code, it would be helpful to, because all of those clubs will be returned through a zip code search to advertise to applicants either on flyers or in conversations with their community partners to instruct applicants to submit to the club by name that she's seen a flyer for or that you've done with publicity for, to ensure that those places where you've done the work of publicizing the award, that those applicants are connected to those clubs.
So yeah, so this shift from the writable PDF to this online application portal is going to take a little bit of rethinking as far as how you reach out to community partners and applicants, because instead of women reaching out to you, emailing, how do I apply? Instead of sending them a copy of the application, you can just send them directly via the link to this online application portal, and that's where they can start the process. So if they're not following the link from the flyer and contacting you, or maybe they heard about the Liquor Dream Awards through word of mouth, let's say, when applicants contact you, you can just directly send them to the online application portal instead of going back and forth with these forms.
There's a question from Margie Wyatt. Says, if we have a winner that did not go through the portal, then we have to go on the portal and create an account. And so the answer is yes, because we want the applications to all live in one place, ideally. And so this is our current way of incorporating paper applications into the process. If a woman is selected as the club level recipient, then the club can make an account for her and submit her application to additional levels of the program through the portal. Let's see what else.
So there was a question, I think I just saw that came through about Social Security numbers. And a question did come through on the form prior to today asking about Social Security numbers. And so that's a component that, especially for the U.S. clubs, is important so that you can follow up with the 1099s and ensure that everything tax-wise is in order after giving a woman an award. And so that's something that you can do, and you can communicate with your award recipients outside the portal. So we don't have any place on the application where they input their Social Security number, and that's because we just want to keep that confidential and important information as confidential as possible. And so when you're following up with your award applicant, to let her know that she received an award and to just get in touch about maybe an award dinner and all of those follow-up details, that's when you're going to want to talk with her about her Social Security number.
Margie asked a follow-up question about, will we have to fill out the application on the portal? The answer to that is yes, which is why we want to encourage use of the online system if possible, to cut out that additional task of having to fill out the application for an applicant. What else do we have? Carol asked a question, Cara Felici, who can I contact about running an additional cycle of applications next spring to satisfy outside grant requirements? Let's have a further conversation about that offline, Carol. You can contact us. Probably the easiest way is if you just reach out to program, which is our general email address, so program@soroptimist.org, and that will go to our program department, and we can plan a follow-up conversation with you about that. Let's So there's a comment from someone without a name saying most of our applicants apply by receiving the poster with my name and email, so they send it directly to me. So if that process works for your club, you can continue operating that way. We do encourage use of the online form. So in this instance, we may make a suggestion to update the poster, which we'll have available, to direct applicants to the online form. And this is another way that you can receive applications from applicants. So you can advertise the application and the program in your local community via the poster or flyer with a link to the online form and directions to submit directly to your club. So that's another route that you can take. Then there's a question from Kathy. We have 5 clubs in the Rogue Valley that all work together. Can we just list our club name as Rogue Valley so all the apps go to the same place? So what we'll present as options to our applicants are club names as we have them in our database based on the zip code of where those clubs are located. So what may work, I'm just thinking aloud here, is that if you wanted to advertise as the Rogue Valley and then list those specific clubs just so that an applicant has further information about where to direct her clubs, or excuse me, her application, and then she'll have to select at least one club of those 5 to directly submit to. But because the clubs are working together and there may need to be some sharing among those clubs, that's something that the club chairs can email our Live Your Dream Awards account, which is lydawards@seraptimus.org, and that will be our process for sharing applications. So that just as an initial thought is a way that we could address that, but we can also think that through a little bit more. Okay, so you addressed the Social Security question. Do you have any other questions that came through, Anna?
Nope, I don't see any.
Okay. Do you want to open up phone?
Okay, so we're gonna, since we're not seeing any more questions come through, let's see, and then we do have a few that are pretty club specific, so we'll definitely record your question and follow up with you offline. We're gonna go ahead and wrap things up. Let's see, I think Margie actually wrote in, let's see what she said. Okay, so your last question, Margie, was about completing the application on behalf of the woman if she is your club winner. Yeah, and so this is why we really encourage you to streamline all of your applicants to the online application portal, and only if it's absolutely necessary, if the woman has absolutely no internet access, would she complete the writable PDF. Because, yeah, we do realize that it is some hefty lifting for you guys to complete an application on her behalf, but there's currently no way to, upload to this system a writable PDF because we're specifically trying to move away from those writable PDFs.
Another point I would just add to that is I know that this is not going to be a perfect solution for everyone, but we're trying to move closer to a more streamlined process for our global organization, because as we move towards our current big goal of increased collective impact and working towards our next big goal of investing in the dreams of 500,000 women and girls through access to education, we really need to be laying groundwork now to prepare us for that next big goal of growing this program and reaching even more women. So it's been a process. This program started in 1972 and has had 3 program names and numerous other changes. And so this is certainly a growing process for all of us, and we recognize that it's not going to be neat and easy, and we're going to work through this together. But the reason that we're trying to make this initial shift now to an online form is to lay that groundwork towards trying to get us to a more streamlined process so that we're able to reach more women with this program.
Yeah, so if you have received in the past a lot of like handwritten applications or applications mailed to you, this is a great opportunity to really change, as I was saying before, just really change your messaging that all applicants should go through this online application portal. And again, definitely reiterate what Nora said, that it's a change process. But overall, there's a lot of exciting improvements, especially as far as the woman applying goes, and making sure that those forms are no longer blank or incomplete. But yeah, do you have anything else anyone wants to say? And we will provide the link to the apply page in our follow-up with this recording. And all right, I think that's going to conclude our call today. Like I said, we'll go ahead and follow up with this recording with the link to that apply page, so you guys can start putting that link in any of your communications. We'll let you know as soon as that flyer gets posted, so you can start using that with your community partners and posting it around your community. But we want to thank you so much for joining us in this process, for providing your feedback, and for all of your time and efforts as a club chair in your local community. So thanks, everyone.